Hey all, I'm back after a very long time. So I'm gonna talk about why all of that later. I'm gonna focus on these few doors. So I have broken a few cracked records. This is especially like, I mean, these are the records. These two are previous, like the previous records. Um, yeah. The records are for the smallest cracked 6x6 cave and 6x6 funnel, both non-seamless. Before going into this any deeper, let me clarify. These doors are only meant to be records. They're not practical and not made for survival use. They are simply records. Another note for this video is that I am sick, so I will at some point may like interrupt while I'm speaking to mute myself and cough because I don't want to explode your ears. Right. So let's get into it. I will. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know how it came to like me building these doors. React is not one of my projects right now. I mean, like, sure, this is kind of funny. I should probably show it from the front. So yeah, when like just messing around someday, I had the idea of, hey, like, why has nobody used these inputs for React? Because even though those inputs are cringe, if they make the door smaller, then why not use them? And yeah, I just like messed around a little bit, tried around stuff, and found out that this works completely fine. I'll show it from the back once more. In top, like, it's really like nothing special. I mean, like, the only thing special is like fitting everything into the size, I guess. Like, that's the only thing you could say is special, but yeah. And so I made this actually. Like, I started with the sides because the sides, like, there are four doubles here. So it was like the main focus was to get those working, and like, I wasn't really sure if it was easy, would have been easy or hard, but like, yeah, I just tried it and it worked pretty easily. So yeah, bottom was a pain, but I got it working, and top is maybe like I'd say it's the hardest crack door I've made so far. I'll show you some things about it later. Yeah, but so this took like I think like 1-2 days maybe. I think, like, because I just spent so long hyper focusing on this. The previous record, like, this is 588 blocks. Previous record is 784, so it's quite a big jump. And well, you can't really compare them like in that sense because this one has dentless and that one has these dusts in the wall, so it's more seamless. But when it like, yeah, the only thing like so what I cut was I cut the back layer, so top is still free, bottom is still free, and sides are still free, but I cut off one back layer. This was made by How to RS, and it was a pretty good door. Yeah, like, I mean, this like is more unseamless and it has a dent. I mean, I guess this is also dentful, like with this, but I feel like the dents in the walls aren't as cringe because you can't, well, yeah. This is, I don't know. I'm still proud of this door. I mean, like, on a technical level and on a level of like just the door as a redstone contraption, I think it's pretty cool. Same for this. It is 670 blocks. I held the previous record with 980 blocks. This had the same unseamlessness. There's one thing about this door which is interesting, is that it never should have been a record to begin with. I'll show you this in this so fast. So closing works. Opening works. And this follows the correct regulations, which, well, they aren't really laid out, but it follows them, or like the current definition of it, whatever. There's one problem with it though, and this is this pushing out makes this door non-legit. I actually didn't realize this up until ages later when I made a tutorial, when I made the first like iteration of filming these doors. Yeah, I mean, like this actually also had the same problem, but here it was as simple as just replacing this with this. And as we look at this door, that's decently small. Now this is not just like, I mean, yeah, the floor is full, because yes, there may be ways of actually like removing something here. I never tried this. I don't think it works. I mean, like the rejection is still okay. Right. Okay, so it's not as dentless. The floor is the same dentlessness as, I don't know, as the other side. As there was no instance of being a repeater here. You didn't see that. That's just great. Like those are the kind of things I just didn't even think about like when I built this, because, well, I have this and I need this here because there's no other way of getting here. Like literally you can't have the wrap up here because that like has a hitbox within the hallway, so it needs to be down here. That's non-negotiable for this type of door. And I just didn't think about it here. Yeah, that's great. I mean, I guess that improves the door ever so slightly. Not that it really matters. Oh, one thing it could have messed up actually is like powering this in this situation. It works out, so nobody cares. What is a bit sad though is this. But I found no real way of doing this because, well, the sides were the easiest thing here. They were not as easy here, and it took me a few iterations to get something working, because what I cut from this is I cut off the sides, because the sides were free, because we're a triple in the sides. I don't have a triple yet, it's in the bottom, so I cut off like one of the sides on each side. Top is still free, bottom is still free. But then I cut also the back layer, and you can just see there's a lot of logic in there. Yeah, sure, this door has quite a bit of air, but it's still a lot of logic you cut out for arguably weirder inputs. It's like you lose like all this, which is really important. And losing this, by the way, like also in this one, has implications, which are the biggest downside of these doors, aside from them being like a bit more unseamless, which I will get to in a second. So yeah, these doors were a pain to build, to make, to whatever. The main thing, well, I'm like losing the, what I wanted to say. I'm not good at making videos anymore. That's very sad. Yeah, so there's a lot of logic I cut out, and finding out like something that inputs the doubles, the singles, and also works with the flush pistons wasn't easy. So like it took a few iterations, and it's not like everything is used. Like obviously there's some air spaces, but this is like pretty tight. If you look at the bottom, it is like also there's a lot of stuff going on, and things just like barely fit into place. I mean, like here it's even more so, like there's no real space of wiring it any other way. But like finding this took a bit. I've already recorded a tutorial for this. I will make a tutorial for that as well. I recorded a tutorial like a week ago. Yeah, about that later. So yeah, so this door like went from 980 blocks to 672 blocks, which is a massive step down. Quite a bit more than there. Yeah, and for both of these doors, there are downsides to like cutting these, because, well, here we lose the back end. I mean, for like the side triples, it was like we never had bottom triples, but the top triples had like very nice inputs. And here we don't. We have like this, we have this, and this. And sadly, this configuration makes it that this actually like the way I didn't figure out a way of doing it any other way. So these have to be like the door relies on what piston this does powers, and it relies on it powering the top piston always. Meaning it is locational, like both of these inputs. There are like situations where you actually need to power the bottom piston, and then you use racing conditions, which like using correct and racing conditions in the same sentence is just, I just wanna cry. Like finding the timings from the top. I'm not gonna lie, I spent as much time on the rest of the door as I spent getting this, just this extender to retract like this. It is hard to explain why, but I'll show you like all my prototypes of this like corner up here, because it's just this corner. There's a problem because there's like some logic here. The input is like actually like this, all like this is just a general refire for the door. That's not here in the others, like on the other side. So the other side actually was decently easy. It's the same sort of setup, and then just like some things thrown at it and it works. Whereas this has to use some very odd timings and no monostables aside. Like it only receives pulses, and that was really annoying to get to work because you need very specific timings, and then like also like the timings, it was hard. Maybe I also just had a skill issue, but also was pain. So yeah, this was 8. The way we do this, like this pause, this pause, great, like this is locational, but the bottom is as well, like this does. Yeah, probably like for the top, I'm very unsure if there are ways of making it non-locational. Maybe there are. I'm not gonna invest the time into that. For the bottom, I'm a bit more like there's a higher chance, I think, that the bottom can be made non-locational by just having a smart powering setup. But I like for the setup I used, that is not really the way to do it. At least I didn't find a way of making it non-locational, and this is like the same problem, like because the triples are the same basically. Like the wiring is different, but the ideas are the same. And if you look at the wire, like even like the setup is similar. Especially for the bottom. Like the bottom, I just took this and adapted it to work with this. I can see like the same, like kind of like, I don't know if you rotate it by like 90 degrees. Counterclockwise, you have like this one type thing. Like right, I mean, it's I don't know, like a 1 would be like so, I suppose, with like some writing system. Anyways, but like you can see it's that exact same thing here. So yeah, I definitely like took from that for this door. This door also wasn't as hard, it was still annoying, especially on the side, to get the same thing, because it's just like the setup is also the same and its core, the wiring isn't. But like getting this to work well was annoying, while on the side this was decently easy. Yeah, so it's rather occasional. I'm still pretty proud of these doors, just from a technical perspective. Yeah. So let's talk about, first of all, like where have I been for like the last half a year? Because I just looked and it's been 6 months, and that's not good. Honestly, it was a very unfortunate series of timings. It wasn't like one thing, it was multiple. So first of all, in my last video, I think I also said that I had to give my PC to a repair shop because my PC was leaking, because I have a water-cooled liquid cooling PC. Don't ever get one of those. It was a very stupid decision. Regardless, I have it. I am now like, and I had the problem of my PC leaking, which is probably like I could have probably fixed it myself, but my PC is the most expensive thing I own by far, so I was not comfortable like doing that myself, and I'd rather like pay somebody else to do it, and like if then they mess up, then they have to like I'm paying for them to do it right, and if they mess up, then they have to bear the consequences, right? So that was the first thing, and I thought I was like gone for like a week. I mean, like I gave it away in the next week. I also was gone, like I was on holidays basically, so it wouldn't have mattered anyway. I couldn't have played, but I got it back like a few weeks later, like not within 1 week like I expected, but I don't know, like a month I think it took. But because it took so long, I decided in between to start redoing my room, because my room was just like a mess. I had like the way I have like had it furnished was still from when I was like 13, I want to say 14, something around that neighborhood. And it was very much like for back then it worked, but then like I got new things, and my needs changed and stuff, so I got to a point where my room just was disorganized, and like it was disorganized for the workflow of the workflow I now needed. So I redid my room, but because I have a lot of shit, that took way longer than expected, and I didn't have I got my PC, but then I didn't have any place to do my to put it where I didn't have a setup. I had my PC back, but I didn't have a setup. Also not ideal. Yeah, and I could have just if that was all, then I would have made videos 4 months ago. The real problem was that all while that was going on, I also I'm in school, and I talked about it a few times, that the school I'm in now is it isn't necessarily more difficult, but it is in every sense of the word more important. In my previous school, I only needed to graduate, and I only needed passing grades, which I did with ease. So it was never really a problem, but like passing grades isn't hard in that school. At least it wasn't a general school. It wasn't generalized education. It was specified, like it was education around basically computer science. It's more than that. It's like also networking, security, was like web development, just standard software engineering. It was also some like electrical engineering / robotic type shit. It was like a lot of like every different, like most topics in like computer science and like that are like adjacent to it combined into one kind of 2-year course, where you did everything a bit. Like you touched on everything, or like we touched on everything, but we never did anything like too deep. And like that for me was, yeah, I only, to be honest, I just took that because that qualified me for the school I'm in now. It was like decently well. I think it was like second best at the end of the year. Like when I got with my graduation, like my average was the second best of the class, which, yeah, but I didn't study like I studied for it, and I didn't make many videos, but it wasn't hard. It was manageable. Now though, that isn't the case. It's not just that the school is generalized education again, so I have subjects that I'm just not as good with. Like I am doing Redstone. Obviously, like computer science stuff will, to some extent, not be hard for me. I mean, yeah, especially like the theory behind how adders work. Like basically, there was a subject that I knew basically like the first year I just could sleep in it because I knew the shit that we did there. We're doing computational redstone, which I've never really showed, but I did some computational redstone, and that, like, unironically was a higher level and explained everything to me from that. But that was like that didn't stay. Like my new school is general education, where I have also like classes where I need to analyze just literature and stuff. And I'm not the most, like, I can write, but it's not my strong suit. I'm a redstoner, so not ideal, for sure not. But I can manage still. It just takes way more time. And also problem is that I receive, like, not I receive, the grades I need to get, like the average I need to get into the university I want to, is difficult to achieve. It is for like the German viewers who understand, it's a 1.5, like Abi 1.5, which is very doable. It is just not something that is doable while also spending huge amounts of time playing Minecraft, or at least like until to a point where you are good enough to get like top grades. It's really hard, at least for me. I don't know, maybe like there are some geniuses out there that will not struggle and they will laugh at me, for struggling with that. I don't really care. For me, it just takes a lot of time. And don't get me wrong, like I'm achieving what I want to achieve. It's not that I'm wasting my time there. You never, I don't know, maybe there's some countries. I don't think you can really waste your time in school if you spend it correctly. That's a whole other topic though. Point being, like I'm getting, like the results are showing, and I'm like slowly but steadily improving, and again I'm getting really good grades. So far so that like if I hold my current trajectory, I will pass with the grades I need to get to my dream university. Now, it is just that it takes a lot of time. Now, that was a huge part, and another huge part that's probably the most silly one. Like the other two are just like, in my opinion, are valid reasons and stable. This one isn't as much maybe. In essence, because at that point I hadn't recorded a video in 3 months, something about the thought of doing it again, like sitting down to record a video was scary. I don't know why. But there was like some resistance within me that I couldn't really understand myself, and that wasn't helping me a whole lot with recording again. Yeah, because I mean, like even with this video, like this is not the first video I've recorded. I've recorded this video like 5 times by now, and I've also done the tutorial already. Yeah, there's like I needed to like get into the rhythm again to properly do Redstone and probably like explain stuff. Yeah, so that's where I am. I do think I'm back properly. But I do not know like in what capacity I will do videos. I've touched upon it a few times. The door, like I have very high standards for the doors I want to put out, and that leads to me like not like showing 95% of doors. I will change that, and we'll see how my channel deals with 6 months of inactiveness. Yeah. That's about it. Yeah, as I said, I already recorded this video. I have no clue in what order videos will come out. I also wanted to properly release the 0.96x6 uncut part. I will need to like, because I've not found a way of doing it without cutting the video. It's not gonna be uncut. I will upload one video that is fully 24 hours, and then that will have a link to a unlisted video that is the next part, because it would be 28 hours, and even though there shouldn't be any like any way for me to like, there's YouTube, if you follow the regulations as they are like being laid out by YouTube, there's nothing blocking me from uploading that video as is, because even though it is over 24 hours or 12 hours, the file size is under 100 gigabytes and the maximum is 256 gigabytes. So in theory, like it's 98 gigabytes or something, it shouldn't be a problem. I will try to re-encode it with a different codec, because I've read that can change things. I have no clue how that will work, and depending on how quickly I can do that video actually might be the next one out, or it's this tutorial. I mean, I've already recorded that, so it's rather easy to make a video on it. Yeah, that is where I am at right now. Also, I'm still sick. I got COVID again, which was just great. And that means that I'm like, my voice won't be that great. I don't know if like I know that COVID has like, at least in Germany, like it always has been like rather like there has been like very common symptoms, but also have been very like people specific symptoms. For me, the last time I had COVID, and this time is like it's the same kind of evolution path of like symptoms are the same, like they're coming at the same times. And that means like I've been in school for 2 weeks at this point, yet I'm still coughing my brains out when speaking too much, just because that's how COVID has always been for me. The last time I coughed for 3 months, which isn't ideal for recording videos, but oh well. Yeah. I do want to say though that I'm looking forward to making videos again. I also thought about streaming again. yeah. Also, I should mention, yeah, I have like this blocking thing over chat. It's mainly because, as I've mentioned in videos before, I'm a staff member now on Synergy. I'm a helper, to be specific. Yeah, and I just don't want to show shit that is not meant to be seen from non-staff people. And like before, I just turned off chat, but that's kind of not good for me being a staff member, because what's the point of me being a staff member then turning off chat to not look at chat? So yeah, this allows me to read the chat while not being worrying about sharing anything that I shouldn't. Just for those who are confused. So yeah, you won't see this thing. I can see it, but yeah. All in all, that's. Oh no, I wanted to show the thing. I'm gonna quickly pause and I'll see you there. Okay, so this is other like my where I worked on these stones. This is here you can actually like see a very early version. Like if I flick this. I mean like this, and this doesn't work, I believe. But in theory it works. It was just locational and I didn't even bother because I knew like with these timings it worked. The real problem, like in this case, I think like yeah, as you can see, like even with this, there wasn't any way for me to retract this. And the main problem, like also this orange circuit was needed to be put in here. Here you can see like a version. I don't even know, this might actually be the finished, yeah, that's the finished version. That's not too smart to show that one. I had a lot of versions that were you can see, for example, here. I mean, like bottom would work. That's mainly because of like the locationality why that doesn't work. But here I somehow needed to power this, and you can see like different versions. Like this one worked with this dust, which I couldn't like put more down because of this. And it kind of continued that way. Yeah, even like over here there are some different versions. It was not wasn't easy, wasn't enjoyable experience, but after it worked I was pretty pumped. This is an even earlier version of the orange circuit, which looks different. Like here you can see the final version. This was not the final version. Yeah. And for the for this it kind of is the same. I didn't start it here, I think, or maybe this was actually like everything I built there. Oh yeah, I just blocked it because I was locationality. Look. It is obviously like I can't remove. Yeah, and the main problem here also was like fitting in everything. Like this side was relatively easy. I mean, you can even see like there's quite a bit of air here. It's not crazy amounts of air, but there is air. While here, like here on this side, there was the refire circuit, and then like also getting this kind of type thing to work wasn't easy. I had like a few different ways of doing that. I mean, like you can see, and like also like this line changed quite a bit because like the original lime circuit actually, you can see like actually no, it does have the same issues. I do not remember what like yeah, I just remember like this went down a bit more and it got a bit more messy and spaghetti wiring, but that then allowed me for this, and this overall is yeah how this came to be. I'm decently happy with both those. I will, like as I said, I've already made a showcase for this. No showcase, a explanation tutorial thingy. I will make one for this. And this one, like, it's a bit bigger and it, because I do not know how many videos I want to put out. I want to like now spam my catalog because I do have some backlog. It's not massive, but I do have some backlog from just simply doing Redstone for the past few months without showing anything. but it isn't as crazy as you think though, because most of my time goes into projects that you either are big and like still not done, or projects that are like very big that will not be done in the next foreseeable future. So yeah, I don't know, like I will definitely do one video a week. I think at some point I'd like to go back to where I started with just one video every few days. I can't promise that, and I won't. I will promise one video a week. I really hope I can keep at least that up. So yeah, thanks for watching if you're still watching and for waiting for me. Yeah, I hope that this is not a one-off, but I'm actually just returning now. So thanks for watching, I'm out, and see ya, bye.